So, man, thanks for joining us today on Leadership Log, which is a podcast for the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center community on topics of interest. And the topic of interest today is learning something about the civilian development programs that are coming up right now. So we've got Tara White. Ma'am, if you could give us a little bit of your career background and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, my name is Tara White, and I am the program manager for the AFLCMC Civilian Development. I work in force development within DP, and I have been in the position for a little over a year. This is my second civilian development cycle. So I did the cycle last year, and this is my second full cycle. Prior to this office, I've worked in readiness, manpower, in human resources at the group and wing levels. This is my first position at the center.
Okay. So now, what is civilian development? Give us kind of the basic nuts and bolts.
Well, civilian development is something that used to be called civilian development education. So you'll hear people talk about CDE a lot, but that has changed to CD now. And that's because in the prior years, it was a really big concentration on the education programs within civilian development. But now that we have opened it up and there's numerous other programs, it's called CD only. Civilian development is a competitive program that opens annually for civilian employees. They can apply from anything for short or long-term leadership training programs. It's developed of 5 different portfolios. The portfolios cover professional military education, academics, degrees, fellowships. These can be anything from a couple different short-term weeks all the way up to a year, experiential programs, and then leadership seminars and short courses. The programs within civilian development are for development and leadership, and it's mapped from the Department of Air Force's institutional competencies. These courses help to ensure airmen can operate in a constantly changing environments.
Mhm. And now these are free of charge. I mean, it's competitively selected, but they're free of charge to the employee, correct?
Yes, and there is no charge for the employees to participate in any of these programs. It's all competitive. There are other programs that are similar that aren't part of this competitive window, but these programs are competitive, but they're all free of charge.
Okay. So what does the application process look like then?
The application window actually opens this Wednesday, January 11th. Many of you will receive an email from MyPERS letting you know that the civilian development window has opened and you can go ahead and apply. All applications must be applied through MyVector for civilian development. Civilian development has programs that are boarded and non-boarded, and that just depends on where the board and the competition is. Boarded programs are done at the Air Force level where you compete against other functionals. In the non-boarded programs, even though they are competitive, you're competing at your functional level. There is a different timeline that the Air Force has for this process, and then the LCMC has for their process. The AFLCMC process is a little bit more extensive, but it is proven to show great results. The
Okay.
specific process for AFLCMC can be found on our Civilian Development SharePoint site, and we'll have that link provided for you later. And although the process is different, the AFLCMC process has produced selection results with more than 40% selection. And last year we had the highest selection rate in the entire Air Force.
So if you apply for, you've got a pretty good shot at getting it.
It is competitive, so I'm not going to say that everybody that applies can get selected for this process, but the process is so extensive that AFL-CMC concentrates on it, has senior leaders look at your application every step along the way, then it makes you a highly competitive candidate for any of these programs.
Okay. All right. And so now, are these opportunities just for a select few career fields, or is this open to just about anybody?
It really depends on which program you're looking at. Civilian development is open to all functional career fields, but some of the programs are very specific to a certain career field. As an example, we have a new program that was offered this year. It was in pilot last year, but it's being offered in the program this year. It's called C-STEP. It's an experiential program that's only in 6 months increments, but that program is only open for very specific functional areas. The same as we have some of our scholar programs that are only open for certain individuals in engineering and scientifics. The other part of this is that The programs are open for multiple grade levels. We have programs all the way from a GS7 up to a GS15, and that does cover any equivalent grades as well. So some of the programs they range anywhere from 3 days to 3 years, and that's a big difference. But that means that there's more opportunity for everyone to look at what is the best program for you. Some of them also are online, and then some of those longer programs do require a PCS, possibly to the Pentagon, to be in that region to have a better experience with the course. There
Okay.
are truly opportunities for everyone.
So is there a complete list somewhere that people can review to see all the opportunities?
AFLCMC does have the complete list of all the programs available on our SharePoint site, but I will say that MyPERS is the official source for all information on civilian development. We do have the information on the SharePoint, but everything is going to go back to MyPERS being the official source. In
Okay.
addition to that, we're doing road shows with all the different functional communities and some of the organizations. And I will be continuously doing those road shows until the end of January. So if someone is interested, the briefing is around 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and I provide answers to any questions that anyone has during that road show, and they can be requested by email.
And if somebody has a question about a particular uh, course or an opportunity that they would like to apply for, they can always reach out to your team and or to you and get answers, correct?
Absolutely. This is my program, and I am very dedicated to it. And I literally like to explain the process to people and how the programs work.
All right. So they don't have to just go to a website and try to decipher 15 pages of stuff. Okay. They can go in and they can ask a real human being some questions.
Absolutely. I am available to answer any questions, and I highly recommend working with their leadership. Many of the supervisors have already attended these courses, they know information about the courses. And it's always important to bring your supervisor into any of these conversations about your career goals. The one thing about civilian development is that it's really important to have the right person, the right program at the right time. When you go out to MyPERS and you start reading about these different programs, they're a bit flashy and they you really want to do them. They sound so interesting. But after you talk to leadership, it's important to understand where you are in your career and is this the right program for you and is this the right time to take it? So I
That's
highly recommend reaching out to your leadership, your mentors, anybody in your leadership team, and then I'm available to answer any questions as well.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I mean, selecting the right program at the right time is really kind of essential.
Yes, sir.
So there are different requirements, I would imagine, for each of these commitments, right? Is there a commitment requirement to some of these programs?
Depending on the program you select, the time commitment can be different. So if you select one of those long courses, those 3 year courses, the time commitment is much more. Most of the time, for those really long courses, you're moved into that position, and that is what you're going to be doing for those entire 3 years. There's academic courses that you can also apply for. And with those courses, you can also expect to have that time commitment as being in an academic institution and going through school to get those degrees. There's also those short courses. It's 3 or 5 days. The time commitment for those is you're going to be going TDY to a different location or doing an in-place TDY through a virtual means. But that time commitment would be you would be in those courses for the full day for that time commitment. And some of them have a little bit of pre-work that is required for them as well.
So do you need, I would imagine then, if you're, especially if you're going to be working on it during the work, you've got to get your leadership and your chain of command approval for these courses.
Yes, and just as I spoke before, it's important to talk to your supervisor about it. Another part of this application process is that your immediate supervisor is going to be your first endorser. So you want to speak with your supervisor, let them know what your goals are, work it out with them, tell them the courses, kind of discuss it depending on what course you want to apply for. They will be your first endorser. In addition to that, depending on the course you're going to apply for, your second endorser will be another person in your leadership chain. And if you're within AFL-CMC and you're doing a boarded course, your second and third endorser will be Miss Wadern. So you'll be working through your leadership chain on that application process as you get that paperwork pushed forward to get Miss Water's endorsement.
So you said that the application window is opening soon. Is there anything else that you want to reiterate about this, about civilian development?
Absolutely. So the window opens on January 11th. But the problem is, it's not open for months. It's only open for a very short time. So it's important to gear up now and start to look at the programs and what you want to do. Even right now, even before the window opens, you can log into MyVector and start to update your resume within MyVector. You can speak with your supervisor, look at the programs available, and start to make a plan for your application. In addition to that, we are going to have a town hall that'll be hosted by the DPD, the Workforce Development Office, next week on Wednesday, the day that it opens, January 11th. The town hall will start at 9:45 Eastern Standard Time. It will be offered through Zoom, so you'll be able to log on virtually and see the town hall for our opening.
Okay, and we will have in the show notes for this episode, we will have links to your civilian development page and also links to this town hall so that if people want to attend it, they can attend that and get some more information there.
Absolutely. And they can always email me or our workflow box, and we'll give that information available as well.
Okay, all right. Well, ma'am, I think we've covered just about everything. Is there anything else that you want to add?
I really encourage everyone to apply for these programs. Look at them, plan for them. Maybe you're not ready for them right now, but this cycle opens every year annually. So it's important to look at the programs and prepare and plan for your future career.
All right. Ma'am, thanks very much for joining us on Leadership Log and helping us understand the important impacts of civilian development.
Thank you for having me.